Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our first series, actually, which is YPC Talk Tuesdays. So to get started for today, I thought it actually would be quite fitting to start off with a bit of background around the YPC, as well as its intentions and what it aims to deliver. So let me just. So my name is Kondwani Wesley Panda, and I'm a researcher at Mintech. And within the SAIMM Young Professionals, I am currently the treasurer. So I'm not sure, some of you might know what the YPC is, some of you might actually not be aware. So first of all, then, what is SAIMM YPC? So I want to address a few things, rather a few questions. So why we have the YPC, what the YPC does, and then also how you can get involved. So first question then to address is why? Why do we have the YPC? So I decided to go into a bit of history, which is called History 101, to answer that question. First of all, the SAIMM, right, is a professional institute which was established in 1894 with the local and international links, which are aimed to assisting members to source news as well as views. And these news and views basically are within technological developments within the mining and metallurgical and related sectors. Some of the benefits that you get as a SAIMM member include participating in some technical excursions, social events, as well as have your contributions and achievements recognized within the mining and minerals industry. It allows you to build networks and contribute to the industry. It allows you to also attend SAIMM-hosted conferences, symposia, colloquia, as well as schools. Most importantly, for knowledge sharing purposes, you receive a bi-monthly journal, which, if I may say it myself, has high quality peer-reviewed papers. So it was identified that young professionals were not actively taking up the space within the mining and mineral sector, and SAIMM then wanted to give young professionals an opportunity to add value and also to bring an alternative view in the industry so that young professionals can influence the thinking and decision making such that it can shape the future of the SAIMM as well as the mining and minerals industry. And thus in 2015, the Young Professionals Council was established. So some of the Young Professionals Council's mission include diligently promoting interests of its members, as well as represent them in a competent manner, bring mining and metallurgical fraternity, research and education personnel, as well as students together in one organization, which is the YPC. Mostly so-called continually strengthen the image of the YPC as a dynamic organization and also playing a leading role in the initiation and implementation of new ideas. So for example, this series that we'll be holding, and to also deliver professional services of high quality to its members and continually improve these services to make sure that all our members they kept abreast with regards to technological developments. The next question then we address is how. So how does YPC add the value to the industry? So the YPC plays different roles, right? And then value is added through different activities that are initiated. So for example, there's a role in influencing schools, from career guidance, mathematics, science, tutoring, like life skills and so on. There's a role in universities where we play a role in terms of from the selection process, also to try and get alignment of the degree and how it's used within the mining and minerals industry. There's a role of also business, where from best practice training programs and mentoring programs that we run. It also plays a role in influencing professional bodies such as EXA, DMR, the AMMS, SA, etc. And all these are to the benefit of the young professionals. We also play a role in influencing service providers outside the mainstream who provide secondary services to young professionals. And lastly, also instituting entrepreneurial activities that will serve the requirements of young professionals. And this is usually achieved through our enterprise working group. So I mentioned working groups. We have 3 of those, which is the education working group, enterprise working group, and the career guidance working group. And all this is where now some of that value addition that the YPC brings is executed with specific focuses. Now, to introduce you to the YPC Connected online events. So as you know, most of us are working from home, and as a result, to keep the ball rolling, as well as making sure that we still deliver that value addition, YPC will be running 3 themed online series, and series 1, which is the YPC Talk Tuesdays, and the hashtag is then YPC Talk Tuesdays. And the aim basically is to improve public speaking skills, build confidence, as well as help you build your brand. The more you participate within the mining and minerals industry, is the more you get recognized, is the more employers are actually aware of who you are. So we want to create that space for people to now shine and bring themselves to the table. Series 2 will be interviews with industry leaders. And here we aim to actually allow our members to learn from unique experiences and knowledge from an industry leader. Series 3 will be knowledge sharing workshops, where now you can come in and learn about the latest technology and developments within the mining and minerals industry. And this will then be hosted by a subject matter expert. The next question I want to address is then what? So what can you do to add value to the YPC? So you can either be a council member, which every year there's a mailer that comes out for people to opt themselves into being a part of the council member. And as a council member, your role is to play, it's on an organizational level where you strategically plan the direction of the YPC. And if you're not on the council, as a member of the SAIMM, as a member of the YPC, your general responsibility would then to either contribute in specific working groups of your choice, okay? And basically what you then do there, you'll be involved in strategizing, project planning and management, evaluation and monitoring of impacts of different projects, giving feedback on different projects that you are working on, helping out with fundraising for each of those working groups, and also advocacy and support, meaning being the brand ambassador for a specific working group. And we all have contacts. So again, as a member, it means bringing your contacts and expanding that network. That way, YPC can be represented in different organizations as well as different industries. So also as a student, one of the things that you can also add value to is obviously contributing to the SAIMM Journal Student Edition. And as a young professional, then you can either submit your presentation or your papers, which then can be included in that journal. And basically, if you want to do that, you can contact Camila. So as you can see on the screen, I've included her email address. Just tell her that you want to submit for the journal, and then she'll give you guidelines on how to go about doing that. And that brings me to the end of that introduction on YPC Connected. So with regards to moving forward, as I mentioned, these are open platforms, meaning people need to come through, bring yourself to the table to say you want to come and present. And what we'll then do from our end will enable you to do that, meaning guide you with regards to maybe preparing a presentation and making sure that you get the space to actually learn and master your presentation skills. And with regards to how you can then go about presenting, it's up to you. You can either do presentation style type of presenting, or it can be a speech delivery type of presentation where you do not need any PowerPoint in the background. And for today's session, I have Palesa Hlabahlaba that will be giving us her talk. And if you had seen the advert, it is on the importance of taking up space. So just a brief background on Palesa. She's a qualified chartered accountant and a strong supporter of challenging the status quo. She believes in doing the right business the right way. Strategic thinking and willingness to learn are two of her best qualities. She's open to travel opportunities, both national and international. So without any further ado, I'll hand it over to Palesa.
Thank you so much, Wesley, or Gondwane, as we now refer to you as. Thank you so much, first of all, for the invite. I really appreciate the fact that I have the honor of speaking to members today, to students, to young professionals. And I remember when Wesley asked me, give me a short bio, and the first thing that came to mind is, oh my gosh, how do I even introduce myself? So thank you for introducing me, Wesley. LinkedIn comes in handy every now and again, so that's great. Palesa Hlabahlaba is a chartered accountant, as said. Strong believer of changing the status quo. What that basically means is I'm one of those people who believe that if you have something and it's not working out, you can always change it. Or even if something is working and there's room for improvement, you can always improve it. So I'm that millennial who's constantly questioning, why are we doing things a certain way? Is it efficient? Is there no other better way of doing it? So that's what it basically means on my end. Today, I wanted to actually just talk about the importance of showing up. And in my presentation, or rather my talk today, I will take you through a journey that I have traveled. And by that, I simply mean that I will give you insights into my life, some of my life experiences, some of the learnings that have come out of the experience thus far that actually led me to believe and to say with conviction that, it is important to actually show up. So hence the topic, the importance of showing up. So I'll start off with Palesa being in high school. I was relatively a smart kid, but at the same time, I came from a family that was not necessarily well off. So as much as I was passionate and I knew that I wanted a bright future for myself, what I also understood is that my parents cannot afford to pay for me furthering my studies, in essence, going to university. Now, let's think about university for a second. We have a few universities in the country, and those universities have a limited number of students they can take or enroll on a yearly basis. So let's say even if every high school in South Africa achieved 100% pass rate, matric pass rate on an annual basis, even if that was the case, not everybody would be able to get into university. So now I'm thinking to myself, okay, here's this person, I'm smart, sure, my results are good, but how will I actually get into this institution? I need to show up. And what showing up was, I need to put myself in a position where if a bursary, not even if, let's think about it. I wanted to go to university. What are my options? One, get a bursary so that I can actually pursue my studies, or two, get a bursary so I can actually pursue my studies. So basically, I only had one option. And for me to actually pursue that option, it meant that I need to show up. And showing up meant, what can I put to the table that says to a company, look, we actually want to give this young kid a chance. We want to give them an opportunity to further their studies. And basically work on improving their lives. So I was that person who was working hard. I was ensuring that I was getting the best grades. I think I came out top of my class in my matric year, and I applied to Wits University. I was looking for funding, and luckily for me, I got the funding that I needed, and I was able to then pursue my studies. And I do recall being in high school, and everybody will always just be like, you know, you're getting all these high grades, but what's the point? You get people who are constantly partying, they're not necessarily interested in school. And I look at them now and I look at my life compared to them, and I actually just realized that showing up helped me, because here I am, a qualified young professional. Now you get to varsity, you are probably one of the best scholars in your high school. Come to varsity, but varsity is a totally different ball game altogether. So you basically go from being top of the class to being somewhere where you literally have to search and figure out where do you fall in. Quickly need to adjust. Obviously, the strategies that you would have probably implemented in high school, which mostly included studying the night before, are no longer working for you. So you need to re-strategize and decide, okay, how am I going to tackle what it is that I need to do? I have financial accounting, I have auditing, I have, management accounting, etc. What's going to be my approach to now getting the grades that I require? Because one, for me to stay on a bursary, I need to actually show up and provide results. So I need to show up. And showing up for me meant I had the right kind of friends. So my friends, we enjoyed socializing every now and again, but one of the things we did very well was studying together in first year. I can say to you today that the only reason I probably passed economics 1 is because when it came to studying, I studied with my friends. We would sit down, go through question papers, and actually ensure that we're all on the same page so we can actually end up then passing the exams that we wrote. Fine, so now you're almost doing okay. I had a few hiccups, obviously, in varsity. At some point, I had to repeat a year. After repeating a year, you also need to re-strategize to say, what does that mean? Do I still want to be a chartered accountant? Do I still want to pursue this career? What am I going to do next? So I don't know if, some of you might know, others might not, but in the accounting profession, generally you have 2 routes that you could pursue. You have the auditing route, or you have what we call the financial services route, or what they used to call in the past TOP, which is training outside public practice. So in varsity, I decided, okay, there's these 2 routes. What do I want to pursue? Do I want to be an auditor, or do I want to be in financial services? But for me to make that decision, I needed to be informed. So I can't just sit and decide, oh, I'm going to go into auditing, or I'm going to go into financial services. How am I backing my decision? So then I decided I'm going to apply for vocational work at the auditing firms. I did back work at PwC, back work at KPMG, etc. And then I decided, okay, I understand a bit of auditing now. I see what it's all about, but I actually just want to understand financial services as well. So I attended the Investec summer school. I attended, the F&B winter school, etc. And I eventually got to a decision that, I actually want to pursue, or rather complete my articles at a financial institution, and that was the bank. So mind you, I'm not top in my class. I'm not the best performer in class. I think by the time I even got to 3rd year, I don't know where I was being placed. But I knew I wanted to go into financial services. Financial services, however, only takes a few people. So to put it into context, your big firms will take about 50 to 100 students a year. Your financial services companies, your banks, will generally take about 15 to 20 people a year. 15 to 20 is of all the applications in the country. So for you to get into financial services, you need to have something, a few belts on you. So I know for sure that my results are not the greatest. I mean, by third year, I'm in my 50s. And if anybody has been to Wits, you know that a 50 by the time you get to third year is you practically doing the most, you are excelling. So I'm getting my 50s and I realize there's no way these 50s are going to make me qualified to get into financial services. So I decided, okay, what else could I potentially do that will make me stand out? And this is honestly a decision I made in second year. I had decided, I know for sure that I don't have the greatest results, but what else can I bring to the table to actually get, the HC person to consider my application? And that's when I started thinking about extramural activities. I got involved in different societies. I was in committees, SRC committees. I was quite active at RES. I was quite active at church. And I always ensured that I'm not just a student completely focused on getting a degree. There has to be more to me because unfortunately, my results are not going to get me to the next step. So obviously I'm going to pass, but for somebody to consider my application out of thousands of applicants, something needs to stand out and I need to show up. And showing up meant bringing something else to the table besides just being a student that went to Wits and got their degree. So as a student, I think it's very important to sit down and think, how can I show up? And showing up, not necessarily just looking at your books. It's important to look at your books. You need to excel in your books. But we can all agree that once you graduate, you'll find that even the companies that hire graduates only offer limited spaces. So yet again, you need to show up, you need to stand out. So everybody with a degree is not guaranteed to have a job. So just because you have a job does not mean you're guaranteed a position in corporate or a position in business. So what else then are you bringing to the table that's going to make you stand out from the rest? Sit down and think, can I get more involved in varsity? Is that through doing sports? Is that through joining committees? Is it through leadership? Whatever it is, it could also be tutoring, which also helps and advances others as well. Whatever the case may be, but for the student listening to this presentation, I would urgently say to you, focus on building your brand that goes beyond just getting a degree. Because at the end of the day, the people that are hiring at the top, they're not only just looking at your qualification, they also want to know what else is it about Palesa that attracts me to her and makes me want this person to actually work for me. Cool, fast track. Luckily for me, the strategy worked. I get into financial services and I work for the biggest bank in Africa. I'm one of the 15 people who actually gets admitted. I have people in my class looking at me like, how the heck did you get this thing? You're not even an honest student. So again, I don't know if you guys are very familiar with this, but generally by the time you get to your fourth year, which is your final year of doing accounting, you can either do your honors in accounting, which you need to qualify for, or you can do your higher diploma. Honors, there's a specific average that you need to attain for you to be honored into doing honors, whereas your higher diploma in accountancy, you literally just need to pass and you get to fourth year. So here's this girl, she's doing higher diploma in accountancy. She's not even admitted into doing an honors degree, but she's out here being in the 15 people that are now working for the biggest bank in Africa. I showed up. Okay, great. So now you're a graduate working at a bank and you're learning new things, you're meeting different people every day. And everybody is looking at you like, okay, now you're here. Well done. You got your degree, but you're here now. You're literally at the bottom of the bottom. At the bottom of the bottom, and you literally need to work your way up. So what does that mean? It means yet again, you need to show up. Now, showing up in the workplace, unfortunately, is not like how you would when you are literally in varsity and you can study 3 days in a row and you know that you're gonna pass that exam, or you can just, you know, join an organization, participate, and you know that at least you have something to put down on your CV. Corporate is a totally new ball game altogether. You all come from different universities. Some of you might have obviously were the best in the class. Others were probably not the best in the class. You come with different qualities, but the expectation is that because you are here, we expect you to add some sort of value. So then how do you show up? One, I would say if you are working, a young professional, one of the best things you could ever do for yourself is get a mentor. Mentorship for me has helped me to be where I am currently. And getting a mentor does not necessarily mean you need to even formalize it. All you need to do is identify somebody who currently works in the space that you're in, a person that you look up to, a person who constantly delivers because you want to look up to people who deliver, but a person who's also quite influential. You identify this person, you literally just approach them and say, I'm new at the workplace. I have a few things that I need to learn. Can you guide me? Can we do coffee? I just want to hear about your story. How did you end up to be where you are currently? I need some sort of guidance. That's all it is. You literally have a conversation with that person, and through them telling you their story, you start picking out certain things that could apply to your life. If you have specific questions you want to ask them, they're always available. If there's certain decisions that need to take place that you're unsure of, you can ask them because they've been there, they've walked that road before, and they can always give you advice on what to do next. The worst thing you can do as a young professional is isolate yourself in a working environment. By isolating yourself is constantly feeling like you can't show up by voicing out your opinion when you need to voice out an opinion. You don't want to socialize, you want to sit by yourself because everybody else around you is from private schools and they have a twang, and unfortunately you speak that comrade English. Whatever that is, the worst thing you could do is isolate yourself. You need to interact with other people in your profession, and most importantly, you need to associate with people who have walked the path that you've walked, and they can advise you because they've been there, and they can literally help guide you through your professional journey. So that's very important. Now, I do my 3 years of articles. I move around the bank. I'm going to different business divisions. I'm meeting different people. I'm working with different managers. Some of them are great managers. Some of them are okay. I have people who are interested in my growth. Other people are not. There are people who think I'm their PA. There are people who actually want to treat me as an accounting trainee who can actually do work and add value. Throughout that whole process, then you need to start thinking, I'm on a graduate program, but this is a graduate program for 3 years. In our case, 3 years. And we know that there's many graduate programs in our country, in different companies. But just because you're in a graduate program does not mean that after your grad years end, you're going to get a job. So you need to start thinking, what's my next step and how do I show up to ensure that when the time comes for that next step to take place, I've shown up, I've raised my hand, and the opportunity comes my way. So I started thinking, what do I want to do? Do I want to end up in a particular division? Do I want to work for a particular company? A particular area, where do I see myself? And to be honest, up until the June in 3rd year, which is literally my last year, I still didn't know where I wanted to end up. And luckily for me, because I had a mentor, I reached out to them and I said, look, I'm in my final year of articles. I honestly do not know where I want to go. I'm getting pressure from the program to actually end up somewhere because you can't be a grad forever. help me, what can I do? My mentor says to me, look, while you're still finding yourself, come work for me. Work for me, I'll show you around, help me with a couple of projects. If you're not interested in my area, I can also help and assist you in working towards getting into different areas in the bank because you don't need to stay in this particular one. I'm like, okay, great. I go and I work for him because we had also built a good relationship. I work for him for a couple of months and then I get a call. I get a call from a lady in a different division, one that I was actually interested in. And she's like to me, look, an opportunity just came up. We have a person in our team who's taking leave. We actually need somebody to come fill in and, you know, can you come and assist? Now I'm in my final year. I honestly don't have time to just assist because at the end of the day, I need a permanent job. So for me, I actually need a job right now. I don't just need an opportunity to come assist. I have a frank conversation with her and I'm like, I'm in my final year. I love the opportunity that you're bringing forth. Unfortunately, I can only come assist in your team if there will actually be a role that opens up. And on top of that, it's a finance role. So I'm like to her, it's a finance role. Finance is not particularly something that I want to do, but I definitely want to understand the business a bit more. So the role that I do needs to have a lot of business in it as well. She says to me, look, this role that I have for you is kind of not, I mean, what you're going to be assisting with has the elements that you are talking about. You will be doing finance, but you'll also be working closely with business. So I think it'll be a great opportunity. I'm like, okay, great. Now, what I need to emphasize here is I did not go looking for that role. The lady, she's the head of the area. She called me and said, I got a reference from the CFO in the company, in the division, and he told me to come chat to you and see if you wanted to explore that opportunity. Guys, that's very important. That is very important because that speaks to showing up. And another element that this particularly speaks to when it comes to showing up is always make sure that everything you do it to the best of your ability. Every single thing that you do it to the best of your ability. I was a grad. I spent 3 years rotating in different divisions. There are some divisions that I thoroughly enjoyed and I worked with great managers, meaning it was easy for me to do great because I have a manager that supports me and I have work that is actually exciting. But I was also in areas where I didn't really like the work and perhaps the manager was not the best. But consistency was very key because whether I liked what I was doing or not, what I was doing is I was showing up daily. And showing up daily meant excellent output all the time. Excellent output all the time. So when we fast forward to when I got the call, I was getting the call because the CFO that's referring me is somebody I had worked in his team. I was not even reporting to him directly. However, in me working in his team, he actually picked out Palesa is a good employee or a person who contributes positively and adds value wherever she goes. Hence, here's this opportunity. How about you call her? That's what showing up does for you. It makes things slightly easier because people will always remember how you showed up. So whether you want to or you feel like it or you don't feel like it, you need to show up because every time you leave an area or you've worked with a team of people and you walk away, you need to ask yourself, what are these people saying about me? Palesa worked in this division. What else are they going to say? Oh, she was here. She was always late. Palesa's always late. That time you were probably late once or twice. But because you were late, that's the one thing that sticks to them. Now they know you as Palesa who's always late. When opportunities come, are they going to hire Palesa? No, because who wants to hire somebody who's always late? They even forget that there were other things that you were doing because now the only thing that's associated with you is the fact that you were always late. So you need to show up and you need to be consistent in how you show up. And one of the best ways you can do so is delivering excellent work, excellent output in everything that you do, irrespective of whether you like what you're doing or not, or whether you like who you're working with or not, because it speaks to your brand and what you will be known for. Cool. So now I go to this new area. I work there, and what happened was the person who had the role was actually not feeling well, so he had to take some leave. There were a few complications, a few things happening in his personal life, and lo and behold, 2 months later, the role opens up. I mean, I'm fresh out of grad years. They offer me the role. You know, I come into the role, and obviously I'm excited. I sign up for, you know, the new opportunity, and I start working. Now, the way the role was set up was that when it comes to different gradings in companies, you would know that different companies will grade their employees differently. So the role itself was was at a middle management level. However, they were saying to me, because you're still relatively new, I mean, you're recently just graduated, we're gonna hire you as a junior manager. So we're hiring you as a junior manager for a middle management role, right? So obviously I'm bummed, because now I'm thinking, you know, I was so excited that I'm going into this new role. I'm going to be, you know, middle manager, but they're like, nope, sorry, we're hiring you as a junior manager. My next question was, okay, so how do I get to middle manager? The words that I got were, it's up to you. Your development will be up to you, and, you know, you could get this in the next 3 months, you could get it in 2 years, but it will literally be up to how you perform. Like, okay, cool. I guess, you know, this is corporate, where you think you're getting one thing, but you actually end up getting something else. Cool. I work, I'm consistent in what I do. I ensure that the work that I do gets done. I ensure that when I commit to doing something, I do it. If I don't know something, I raise my hand and I say, I do not know. And I want to pause on that for a bit. Guys, it's important to say when you don't know something. There's nothing wrong with you admitting that, look, that particular thing that you're asking me to do, I honestly do not know how to do it. There's nothing worse than committing to doing something, acting like you know it, doing something completely off, and then everybody's disappointed, because the first thing they're going to ask is, why didn't you just say you didn't know? So you can be the smartest person, the most well-researched person, but there'll be certain things that you do not know. And it's okay to say, I do not know. I'm just going to need some guidance. Also, let me pause there. You not knowing something does not automatically mean you can't do it. So if somebody says to you, please do X, Y, Z, and you don't know how to do it, your answer should not be, no, I can't do it. That's not the answer. If you want to show up appropriately, what you're going to say is, yes, I'm going to do it, but I just need to tell you that I actually don't know how to do it, but I'll find out. So you say yes to doing it, admit that currently you're not sure about how you're going to do it, because obviously you then also setting the expectation so that they know that they can't just expect this thing the next 3 hours, because you actually need to figure it out. And then you're actually going to go and proactively say, I will figure it out. That speaks, like, that's one of the things I learned from one of my mentors, and I promise you that works every time. So showing up also just means sometimes knowing when this is literally not something you know how to do, admitting it, but also proactively getting yourself to a point where you are equipped to do it. Anyway, fast forward, I'm doing the role, I'm executing, I'm being consistent, the work is interesting, I'm meeting different people, and then literally 5 months later, I get a promotion. I was not even expecting the promotion, because in my head I had written it off. In my head I was thinking, you know what, here's corporate again, offering somebody something when they know very well they're actually not going to do it. I'm like, okay, cool. 5 months later, I get a promotion. And I'm like, obviously I'm amazed. And the words that I get is, Palesa, you have absolutely exceeded our expectations. What you've managed to achieve in a short space of time is not even what we thought you could achieve in that short space of time. Hence, we felt that it's quite appropriate or quite befitting that you actually get this promotion. So I got the promotion because I showed up. I absolutely showed up, and showing up was being consistent, ensuring that everything that I do it to my best of my ability, whether I like it or not, because nobody really cares about how you feel, unfortunately. I mean, you might be having the crappiest of days, but you need to deliver because your brand is on the line. So I thought it was important to share a few things as well when it comes to showing up that I think might also help in terms of what you might or might not need to do. One of the first things that I think will help you on this journey of showing up is first you need to have a vision. Have a clear vision of your life, how you want it to be, what you want to be known for, the things that you want to achieve. Then have a plan of how you're going to achieve those things. Vision, plan, execute. I believe once you have a vision and you have a plan, it's hard for you not to show up, because every time you're not showing up, you're reminding yourself that it means I'm one step less closer to what I'm trying to achieve. So once you know exactly where it is you're going, you know exactly how to go there, you will do what needs to be done. You will show up. Secondly, ensure that you get a mentor, you get a coach, you have the right kinds of friends. Look at your friends. Do you surround yourself with the right kind of people, the people who share the same visions as you? Or are you surrounded by people that you maybe shouldn't be surrounded with? You know, look at those things. 3, honor your commitments. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Never commit to something and not do it. Something I've learned from one of the people I've worked for in the past is rather under-commit and over-deliver, not the other way around. Don't commit to 100 and deliver 10. Rather commit to 10 and deliver 100. 4, everything you do it to your best of your ability, regardless of how you feel. It doesn't matter whether you like the thing you're doing or not, or you even like the people that you're doing it not. It speaks to your brand. 5, it's okay to say, I don't know. You're a professional, you've got your qualification, but some things you won't know because now you're working, you need to practically apply some stuff. You won't know it. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean you don't deserve to be working there. It doesn't mean you need to shut up. Just accept that you don't know certain things, but upskill yourself. And then the last thing I want to say is a lot of people will talk about confidence. Confidence is so important. I can't show up because I'm not confident. I can't show up because I'm insecure. I don't think I'm the best. Fake it. When it comes to confidence, the best thing you can do is fake it till you have it. You don't need to have confidence to show up. You just need to look like you're confident to show up. So that's my talk for today. I hope you've learned a few things about the importance of showing up. And most importantly, I hope you can show up in your own lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation and awesome talk, Palesa. One question that was actually in the Q&A, I think not directly related to the talk per se. I think it was from Lirado. So they wanted to know if these sessions are exclusively for professionals in the mining or the mining sector. And to answer you, Lirado, they're actually open to everyone. So feel free to invite your colleagues, your friends as well, to participate in the next upcoming sessions. And do stay on the lookout with regards to sessions that will follow. There was also a few comments directly to you. Actually, let me just quickly read you one. Okay, so it was also again from Lerato, and she found that it was quite insightful. So, which is really awesome. And we have a few minutes. One question from Meleng. The question is, what about showing up even while trembling and sweating?
That's when you really need to show up. And I remember last year, one of the things that I did, the other thing, guys, that I think will help, especially with self-development, every time you fear something, challenge yourself to actually directly face it. So if you're constantly thinking about, I'm scared of talking to my boss, or I want to raise this point, but I'm scared of doing it, that's when you're supposed to do it. Challenge yourself to say, okay, by the end of this week, I need to have spoken to my voice. You need to do it, whether you are shaking, your voice is even trembling. When you speak, sometimes when you're so nervous that when you speak, your voice cracks, that's when you're supposed to speak. I promise you, the more you do that, the more you get better at it. And you'll find that whatever it is you were supposed to do, you wanted to say, is exactly what needed to be done or needed to be said at that moment. So trust yourself. So you don't need to sound eloquent. Your voice does not need to sound bold. The words just need to come out of your mouth, whether you're trembling, shaking, however it looks.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Palesa. So that brings us to actually the end of our first YPC talks, Tuesday talks. And I'd like to again thank you for availing yourself and for being brave and showing up to be the first of many of our speakers ahead. And to all the people that managed to attend the sessions, as I mentioned, these sessions are open to everyone. So please do bring yourselves forward, share your topic, and then from our side, we'll be sure to connect you and make sure that we give you the platform to voice your thoughts, your opinions, and anything that you feel would help the next person in their career journey or personal development journey. So yeah, until the next series, we'll see you very soon.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.